Yeah, this is gonna suck. This is gonna suck really bad. So Anna Kasparian went on the Tucker Carlson podcast experience in a video titled Anna Kasparian, Epstein cover-up, Israel strikes Gaza church, which is, of course, like what Tucker Carlson would hyper-focus on. That's so exhausting. The comments are nuts, man. Americans are finally coming together for a common cause. No. Didn't she used to be good? Yeah, Anna used to be not so bad, but she's a lib. She's a liberal. Last time I talked about her on the channel, it was the bonus hole situation, and I thought that was bad enough. Like, she's obviously correct on Palestine in a lot of cases, but she's doing this, like, stupid liberal hand-holding that they've been trying to do on the Young Turks. Like, they had Marjorie Taylor Greene on to be like, oh, well, you're anti-war too. Don't we agree on a whole lot of stuff? Isn't this common sense? And it's like, what does this accomplish, though? Like, what is actually welcoming in white supremacists do for you? And like, what? Oh, is the Young Turks gonna have some fucking viewership after this? No! No, they're not! Because the people who like Tucker Carlson are gonna call you fucking woke when you try to say trans people deserve normal rights, which Anna Kasparian is even iffy on that. Man, looks like they have a lot in common after all. What the heck?
So normally when I do an unconventional interview with like Putin or the president of Iran, people get mad and they ask, you know, why are you talking to him?
Maybe not normal speed quite, just a little faster.
This is one of those very rare, maybe unique circumstances where people are going to ask you,
Yes.
why are you talking to him?
Yeah.
And people are going to get mad.
Oh, because they just have so much in common.
People are going to get very angry. I know. And my feelings toward coming on your show went from I would never in a million years to kind of giving myself the opportunity to listen.
What's the
Sorry,
show?
I want to see, you know, she probably saw some numbers is what she saw, all right? The Young Turks was falling off. Tucker's ultimate nicotine pouch review, Zin taste test.
Into your podcast to figure out who you really are, because of course I had very strong thoughts about who you are.
Really?
Yeah, but I realized that it was based on clips that I would watch of you, and they had gone viral because they were offensive, or you had said something that was
Viral like syphilis is viral.
I mean, pretty much. I mean, you should think of it that
Why would he even say that? He went to the Greg Gutfeld School of Comedy.
way, because it was mostly painting you in a very negative light.
So she'd never watched Fox News before, or? This intro sucks. Yeah, that's him. Look, Arrow. He's talking. And dude, he's a multi-millionaire. This whole set is a fucking phony, by the way.
To be sure.
This is all a fucking fraud. He's a fraud. His fucking little banjo with his little fucking log cabin with his deer antlers. No, man. This is an elitist. This is one of the fucking ruling class's little offspring fucking budding spawn. God damn it. It's another reason sitting down with this fucking ghoul is completely pointless. He's the enemy in every way. Just because he can recognize and doesn't want to die on the hill of fucking defending Israel doesn't mean anything. This is a Pinterest aesthetic that's a cosplay for a multi-millionaire that is a fucking a Nepo baby, an heir to the Swanson frozen food dynasty.
You and I have some pretty deep disagreements, but I think that some of what you've been talking about lately like hits at the heart of what I care most about, and that's the importance of this country representing the American people.
So you guys are going to talk about gerrymandering, right? Which Tucker Carlson's totally against, you know, right-wingers doing. Or the Voting Rights Act, which Tucker Carlson, you know, advocated against while he was still at Fox News and probably still would. Where do you agree on this? Just because he says working class every so often, even though he means white working class very specifically?
The importance of the United States being a sovereign country.
Also, syphilis is bacterial. Yeah, that's true. That's really funny. It's
that has politicians and a government that prioritizes the American people as opposed to a foreign government. And speaking out the way you've been speaking.
Okay, so you can just say Israel, Anna. I don't get that. Israel and AIPAC. Well, I think maybe that would be dishonest, right? Because they don't agree on Israel. I don't think Tucker Carlson would recognize Israel as an apartheid state, for example, or necessarily condemn the practice of apartheid in general. I think he actually wants apartheid. I think he would like an Israel that isn't a geopolitical burden on the United States. A calm Israel. An agreeable Israel.
Some of these issues takes a lot of courage because it goes against the grain and it goes against, I mean, decades of propaganda and conditioning in American media. And so to me, that commonality that you and I share made me a lot more open-minded to coming on this show.
Of wanting America to represent America.
Because I do think that Americans from across the political spectrum need to find areas of agreement, especially as it pertains to making this country better, so we can apply appropriate pressure on our politicians and get them to represent us regardless of the corruption, regardless of the influence of foreign governments. At the end of the day, these politicians are nothing if it isn't, if it weren't for the American people, right?
Did something happen to her?
And something happened to this guy.
Like, what is she saying right now?
Represent us, regardless of the corruption, regardless of the
We want our politicians to represent us regardless of the corruption. Who's us, Anna?
influence of foreign governments. At the end of the day, these politicians are nothing if it isn't, if it weren't for the American people.
Right.
If you say us to a white supremacist, I'm going to assume you mean white people.
It appears that there's this bipartisan effort to force a vote to release the Epstein files.
Yes.
And the only reason why that's happening is because there's a very loud and aggressive portion of the MAGA base that's demanding it, and they're not letting it go. And I commend them because I agree with them. I think we need transparency. We need to know whether or not we literally have.
You don't have to hand it to right-wingers for thinking that the government should be transparent about the Epstein files. Why is that such an accomplishment? Why are you congratulating them for that? That's the moral take. That's the normal thing to do. No, I commend them for finally not looking past the fact that their president is a file for once. They've been ignoring it for years, but they finally realized. Good job.
Members in our government or influential people, you know, in the periphery of our government who are pedophiles. I want to know.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
It's interesting, the framework that you laid out. The government of any country ought to be sovereign, which is to say it should make most of its big decisions on the basis of what's good for the people that it represents.
Which are...
And it's bad when foreign countries control your country.
Okay, so this is a great rhetorical exercise here. Tucker Carlson is flexing his rhetoric to incorporate what Anna thinks about Israel because she was being a fucking moron and just spitting out word salad. He's managed to twist what she meant about Israel and AIPAC because she was so vague into an insinuation both about Israel and AIPAC and about immigration. You can almost hear it in the way he pivots the rhetoric. Having a foreign country control your country would also be applicable to the foreign invasion from the southern border that the right loves to fucking act like exists. And now you have conceded without openly conceding. You have conceded to this point. He's moving on as if you agree. With less than 5 minutes, and Anne has already made a fool of herself. You walking into this room is the first stupid decision, but you need to be able to at least hold your own. And it's so clear that she is not even qualified for this conversation. Building bridges with this guy does nothing but make you look stupid and hypocritical because of the way he's going to use your words against you unless you are actively contentious with him.
Those aren't expressions of animus against anybody, are they?
I don't think they're hateful statements at all. I'm an American. I love this country. I love the people in this country. Now, you are very conservative. I'm not very conservative.
Mm-hmm.
I have some views that lean more conservative than progressives feel comfortable with, and that's okay. But at the end of the day, what drives my politics is this desire for everyone to thrive economically. And, you know, you've been speaking out about
how
that.
is that? So what is the difference? What does it mean to be, not to get too philosophical here, but what does it mean to be conservative or liberal, at this point?
Well, I don't think that the political labels that we currently have in this country make much sense anymore, to be honest with you.
I've noticed, yeah.
But I'm talking about traditional conservatism. You know, I believe in reproductive rights to a point.
Right.
You know, I know that you're anti-abortion.
I'm sorry, to a what?
Big time.
Yeah. So that's a disagreement we have.
Right.
And I'm not at all going to come on this show and capitulate on my beliefs.
Right.
But I'm not going to defend them.
Important issues. I'm not minimizing them.
Right.
But I feel that we can't even really engage in a real debate about policy or specific issues unless we know we have we're living in a sovereign country and we have a government that actually has interest in representing us.
Right. Because it doesn't.
Sovereign is a weird word to use here. They're implying that Israel controls America. They're acting like Israel controls America when that's not true. It's completely the opposite.
Doesn't really matter otherwise.
Right.
Subscribe, hit the bell.
We'll keep voting for different things, but get the same result.
Exactly.
Then the system is fake. And that's the point where people start to go crazy and do radical, violent things, which I'm completely opposed to. I just want to say that at the outset.
Yeah.
I hate violent radicalism more than anything. And I feel like that's the result of people realizing their system is fake. So you have to
Do you condemn the car full of white boys?
make it kind of real.
You're right about that. And, you know, we've been seeing more and more political violence in this country,
Yes.
and it's terrifying. So I knew that you moved here. You moved to a rural part of the country. And I live in a big city. And I think that living in a big city and spending most of your time in a big city kind of blinds you.
Where does he live? This isn't a real fucking cabin, dude. This is a set. Come on. This is fake. He doesn't live here.
The rest of America. A lot of Americans live in rural parts of the country.
Yes.
And I want the opportunity to speak to them.
I think he's in Wyoming now. He's such a LARPer. He probably owns his own jet. He probably has a fucking hangar.
Get to know them, understand where their hearts and their minds are at. And so I saw it as an opportunity.
Definitely one of those mansion cabins. Yeah, you know what? This is probably his this is his second house on his property. You know what I mean? This is his guest house, which is, you know, conveniently also his studio set.
I think you've hired like drivers to bring people, you know, to where you're at.
It's very far away, yes.
Yeah, the airport's very far. But I love that.
Oh, he has a driver. Oh, yeah. Just like a regular working class guy, huh?
Because they're not like, you know, they're not Uber drivers.
They're like unemployed loggers and stuff.
No, but they are. And
I know.
I can't tell you how much I've enjoyed having conversations with them.
Oh, you've had such good conversations with his drivers that he called unemployed loggers. What?
So one of the drivers who picked me up, Jen, she mentioned the big, beautiful bill that just passed. And, you know, I can tell she identifies as Republican, and she wasn't happy with that bill. And I suspected that most ordinary working class Americans, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, are not happy with that bill.
Yes.
You know, the $1.1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, that's what she brought up. She brought that up. And I thought that was really fascinating. Now, if you talk to someone who identifies as a liberal Democrat, they'll probably think, oh, these Republican voters, they're so greedy. All they want is tax cuts. They want to cut the social safety net. But no, actually, when it comes to ordinary people, there's a lot of agreement, a lot of agreement. A lot of people are suffering right now.
Does she mean like Tucker is an ordinary person? No, I guess she's not saying that. Tucker's hired employees are normal people, and she's normal, so they agree.
And, you know, you have all these different industries, especially, you know, beginning in the 90s, offshoring, you know, all these jobs that have been destroyed. I mean, most people work in the service sector at this point, and manufacturing jobs are gone. I think that's part of the reason why Donald Trump has been so appealing to the MAGA base.
Without question.
Right. Now, I don't think that Trump has carried out his promises because of, well, there's a lot of different examples I can cite, but the most recent is the so-called big, beautiful bill. Yeah, there are some provisions in there, no tax on tips.
Bullshit.
It's going to be means tested, and it also expires in 4 years, whereas the tax benefits that disproportionately benefit the wealthy are permanent. The no tax on, you know, the elderly or Social Security, that also will expire, and it's
no tax on old
to a certain amount. I think it's like $6,000 if I'm not mistaken. The child tax credit, I think, was just peanuts compared to what I think this country could afford in helping families. You want to...
Yeah, you should have free childcare. You can always say there's more to do, but you start sounding like fucking Nancy Pelosi when that's all you say and don't have any actual answers.
Encourage people to have kids?
Yeah.
Okay, best way to do it is to create an economic situation where couples feel comfortable bringing life into this world.
I agree.
You know? And then no tax on overtime. That's another example. That's also means tested, and that's a provision that will expire in 2028. It's just interesting to see which provisions are permanent and which are set to expire in 4 years when, you know, Trump is done with his term. So if you really want to represent the working class, you got to put your money where your mouth is. And I haven't really seen it to the extent that Trump claimed he was going to help the working class in this country.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Here's a revealing.
What, did you believe him? Well, I don't know why you won't say that Trump is just a liar.
Mexico is facing a dangerous outbreak of New World screwworm.
I'm sorry?
Ugh. Screwworm is a flesh-eating parasite. It's devastating to livestock and to humans. Ugh. Despite this, the Department of Agriculture has reopened foreign livestock imports, including from Mexico. Does that sound wrong to you? Does it sound revolting? Well, yeah. Our friends at Merriweather Farms agreed. They sounded the alarm on what could clearly be a serious threat to your health. And it worked. After Merriweather's campaign, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins suspended Mexican livestock imports until we can certain that our food supply and our citizens are safe, including from screwworm. So the story...
Bro, what the fuck? Screw worm. Use code Tucker for extra worms in your meat.
I wouldn't say that I like swung from far left to far right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, you don't know a lot of stuff.
like I can answer the question, so I don't know why I'm asking it of you, but like, what do the terms mean now? And
It's awesome. It's so funny that somebody who considers themselves a journalist, two people actually, that consider themselves journalists and like news anchors at some point in their careers, genuinely can't answer a question that I get almost every single stream. Not so much anymore, but like when I first started stream, that was like the question everybody asked in their first chat. Like, hey, I'm kind of new to this politics stuff. Can you tell me the difference between like left and liberal and right? And these two fucking airheads are just like, I don't even know what that means. What the heck? I don't even left like on a car, or I think it's just common sense versus cuckoo crazy. Sorry.
for whatever it's worth, I've settled on people
I
who
just
are
think it's moderate versus radical.
honest, people who lie.
Right.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's
people
like the only division.
people who are honest versus people who lie. That's even worse than my two bad examples. Says the guy who has lied for his entire career.
Maybe have the honest party, the liar party, or something, you know, in the future. But clearly you've started thinking things or thinking through things that you hadn't before.
But both parties lie, though. The whole first part of the podcast was about how both parties are lying to you and are loyal to Israel as like America's project. Well, they didn't really say America's project. Loyal to Israel for some reason. They don't really elaborate, which is a little dangerous.
And God bless you. That's like the greatest privilege of adulthood. You get to think for yourself. It's happened to me a lot. But how did that start?
Well, I mean, it started with like personal experiences, and it often does, right? Like often your policy preferences will slap you in the face, and then you're like, oh, I don't like that, you know?
Right, no, I get it.
You know, because sometimes there are unintended consequences. I'll give you a specific example.
Don't be rude.
I was very much supportive of the defund the police movement in 2020. And it was because, you know, you see this video of a man like dying on camera with a police officer refusing to, like, you know, ease up on him. And it really made me angry.
That was the first time you ever thought about police violence? BLM started in 2013, Anna. That was after 7 years of almost like yearly, if not more than yearly, public executions and like murders of black teenagers and men and women, including Breonna Taylor, like bi-monthly. There are so many names. There's too many names to even like say in one stream. It's systemic. It was one video and it made me so angry, and now I'm over it. You're done with all that now?
And whatever you think about George Floyd, I don't care, right? Like what was happening in that moment in that video was so disgusting to me and so unjust. And so I was like, no, I totally bought the narrative that it's not actually about like abolishing police. It's about, you know, taking some of that funding and investing in social services or in social workers. So social workers respond to certain calls instead of the police. That actually has ended up being pretty disastrous in California, in Los Angeles in particular, because I've seen it firsthand.
I lied.
You're such a liar, bro.
You're from there.
I'm from there. My best friend.
It's not a thing.
And since childhood, she's a social worker herself. And I've talked to others.
What did she respond to? Like straight up, what is your friend responding to? Because like that's bullshit. That's such bullshit.
Social workers about what their experience has been like. And they're like, I actually interviewed one for a piece I wrote for Real Clear Investigations. And she told me, look, it hasn't really worked out the way people have thought it would work out. Oftentimes we'll go to a call and it's supposed to be a nonviolent person a nonviolent call. Someone's having a mental health episode, but they'll show up and oftentimes it'll be someone who does have a weapon. It's not a gun, but it's maybe a knife or.
And you have to have a cop there, obviously. No, that's not unique. What? Hello? Nurses deal with this. Social workers deal with this all the fucking time. I've known social workers. She pretends to know social workers. I've known social workers. They've been thrown up against walls. They've been choked. They've been threatened. They've been hurt. It is a dangerous job. No one is fucking admitting that it's not a dangerous job. But the people who do those jobs are supposed to be trained in how to de-escalate and how to help and how to do the least harm and the most good in that situation, because cops are murderous. And because cops value their own lives and the lives of their fucking pig brothers more than anything else. They're trained. Exactly. They're trained to deal with this.
Threatened. So they have no choice but to call the police. And so
What, the social workers? Yeah, because that's probably the policy, first of all, is to have police there, which isn't unheard of, but not always ideal. But if social workers are there and the police are there, the police are usually less likely to fucking murder somebody.
2021, the Los Angeles City Council.
Yeah, it's scary as fuck to be a social worker. They should be protected. They should be like super valued and appreciated more than fucking cops are, because they don't kill the people they're trying to help. Paid way more too. Yeah, remember guys, it's your job to make sure the cop doesn't feel threatened.
You know, was inspired by BLM, and they decided to take $150 million away from the LAPD's budget and instead invest it in other services.
Is she actually making the argument that the LAPD is like not funded enough?
It actually ended up being even more. We're spending more.
Literally never happened. I don't even think that's true. Yeah, I don't remember hearing about this.
On police, more on the LAPD than we ever have. Like,
okay, she's saying it was she's fact checking.
Record amounts. And the reason why is because you have to really ask yourself before you make these decisions, okay, do we need this many officers? Let's compare Los Angeles to other huge cities. What's the police officer or sworn officer to citizen ratio? And in LA, it's always been historically lower, much lower than other major cities. So at the peak of the LAPD and the number of sworn officers in the LAPD, we had about 10,000. After the cuts and after all the difficulty in recruiting new sworn officers, because people don't want to be police officers anymore.
Sworn officers.
More for understandable reasons. It's not a desirable job when you have people constantly, you know, talking about how terrible cops are.
Is that the worst part about the job? Wow. They get their feelings hurt, so they don't want to be cops anymore. There are more cops that quit because of having to get the COVID vaccine than quit because they have their fucking feelings hurt. Yeah, there's fucking cop gangs. What are you saying? Oh my god. Everyone's talking about how terrible cops are. They're so fucking sad. I'm talking about how terrible you are. Does that mean you're gonna quit anytime soon? Please, you get more heat than any cop.
So now we have about 8,500. And as a result, the remaining sworn officers are working insane overtime, like crazy. Like we have one.
A lot of that overtime is protest, riot control, as they call it. But a lot of cops are maladjusted, so they just don't want to do anything other than, you know, work.
I think his name's Nathan Corey. He made $600,000 one year because of police overtime. So right now, taxpayers in Los Angeles.
600,000?
Yes.
Lock them up. That sounds like some waste, fraud, and abuse to me.
Right now, taxpayers in LA are kind of confronted with this situation where they're paying far more for less as it pertains to policing. Since there is a shortage, there's longer wait times if you call 911 and you need help.
Yeah, that's not because of a shortage. This is a fucking fantasy. It's because cops are lazy. It's because cops don't want to do their job. And they want to sit in their air-conditioned SUVs and watch Asmongold.
Some people complain that they'll call, and if it's not, like, let's say someone was the victim of a burglary, obviously you're not in imminent danger. So they'll call the cops and hope that someone will show up, you know, take fingerprints and maybe find who burglarized them. They never do, but they don't show up.
Cops don't take fingerprints. They don't have skills, Anna.
For hours, and people get really upset and they're like, why is this happening? And what's really interesting is I try to explain why it's happening. And I get called all sorts of names for doing it, but I don't care. The truth is the truth.
Wait.
Subscribe, hit the bell. Don't call Anna Kasparian any names.
Why are you one of the only people willing to admit you were wrong about defund the police?
So what was she wrong about? What changed her mind? She knows a social worker, and sometimes someone having a mental health episode can have a knife. Have she ever seen cops in the UK? They deal with that too, and they don't even have guns. And they're still fucking brutal. They still love beating the shit out of people.
Like, why were you willing to say, again, bless you, but I've done it myself many times, but why were you willing to admit that?
What has he ever
because
said
at
he's
the
wrong
core
about?
of who I am, I think as a journalist, you know, I didn't enter this line of work to be a mouthpiece for anyone. I really care about the truth. And I feel that if you want to live in a democracy, you have to make sure that people are getting accurate information to make the right decisions for themselves once they're casting a ballot.
Right.
And so I felt angry because I felt misled by the media.
Yep.
And now, you know, it was partly my fault too, because I was in a bubble and I was only getting one side of.
How? Did you just never watch right-wing content? Do people just not watch as much Fox News as I do? I hear the arguments. You never heard right-wing arguments before? Huh?
And even if I agree with that side, I should at least hear what the opposing argument is. And I wasn't going out of my way to do that before. Now I do. And so I see things as far more complex and nuanced. And it's hard to make an argument that's going to appease any audience at this point, because I think a lot of Americans have been conditioned to be partisan and prioritize partisanship before truth. And I think truth is what will set us free, genuinely. Truth will help us ensure that
Republicans don't watch as much Fox News as you do? Okay, that's fair.
we have a better government. And I'm sorry, one side or the other does not have a monopoly on the truth. They just don't. And
Marxists do, but you know,
One
you have
side
to, you
might
have to do some research.
get something right one time, the other side might have a good point when it comes to a different issue. And I think we just need to be open-minded.
Like
and more
what?
importantly, we need to have conversations with people, because if you just rely on what the media is saying about a particular political figure or a particular media figure, why are you letting them tell you what to think about individuals? Why don't you actually do a little bit of digging or have these conversations yourself and try to figure out who these people really are? You know, like the speech you gave at Turning Point, you said a few things in there that I might not agree with, but like the overall message was so courageous, and I never thought in a million years I would hear it.
All women are stupid. Why? All women are stupid.
Where's the white women extinction button?
A conservative conference. Never.
It's just interesting. Well, I mean, you know, the truth is wherever it is, and
Brave.
you try to recognize it. But I'm going to give you my text, and I want you to text me, if you will, criticism of what you're saying now,
Okay.
because I want to keep a list of people who are offended by what you're saying just in my head. Like, how could anyone be offended by what you're saying now?
Yeah.
You are a white woman? That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. Okay?
Well, it might not be.
I mean, you're not the criminal here.
Yeah. Well, let me just be honest
She's not dumb. She's a sellout. She's a bad sellout. She's so like half-hearted.
with you. I think that most people who are going to attack me aren't even going to listen to this interview.
No,
It's just the fact that we're having a conversation with each other.
Listen, I am listening to the interview, Anna, and it's not my fault that you don't have anything substantial to say other than glazing this idiot white supremacist fucking goon.
But
Yeah, there's nothing valid that you're saying, so there's nothing to address other than your fucking glazing.
I take offense to people trying to police who I could talk to. In fact, the more they try to police me, the more I want to talk to the person. They forbid me.
All right, don't talk to David Duke. Don't talk to David Duke, Anna. I think that's a bad idea. I don't think you should do it. Does that mean you want to now? Are you fucking dumb? Never go on Fresh and Fit. Never talk to Sneeko or Nick Fuentes. I'm giving you advice. I don't want to watch this.
I've always been like that. I've been like that since I was a kid. My mom knows it better than anyone. I'm just a little bit rebellious, and I don't like to be told what to do. I hate it.
I wonder if Anna would go on my podcast.
What to think.
Yeah.
And who you can talk to. I mean, that's like that's a core decision. Who do I associate with?
Yeah.
Who are my friends? Who am I having dinner with? Who do I marry? I mean, if you allow other people to make those decisions for you, you're not free.
No, you're not. And oh my God, what a terrible career path to be a journalist who doesn't get to have conversations like with people that they're curious. I'm curious about you. I am. Right. You were a neocon.
Do you have questions?
Yeah, I was.
I became
hard to believe that.
It is hard to believe that. I became politicized in the lead up to the Iraq invasion in 2003.
Yes.
I was in high school, and I remember in 2002, I went to like a hippie, magnet school, and we had Peace Day annually. And I remember giving a speech in 2002 to make the case against the preemptive war in Iraq. I remember, you're going to laugh at this. I remember in English class, we were reading a play, The Glass Menagerie, which I found deeply boring. And I had I had a cutout of a New York Times article in which Bill Kristol was one of the people the reporter interviewed. And, Bill Kristol loves war,
yeah.
Hardcore neocon. And I just remember just sitting in that English class, reading his quotes and seething over it and thinking to myself, I can't wait to one day get an opportunity to confront him. And I actually did get that opportunity. It wasn't about war, but it was a Politicon panel debate about healthcare. And, I kind of brought up the fact that Israel has universal healthcare and Americans don't.
What did he say?
He was so unprepared. There's a picture of him, like he has index cards, someone wrote notes down for him and he's just fumbling with the index cards. He doesn't know what to do. And then once the whole panel discussion was over, someone who was with me overheard him say, damn it, she came prepared. Something along those lines.
Yeah, it's arrogance. It's people who've been told since they were small that they're brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Kristol, Ted Cruz. I mean, it does distort you and it actually makes you dumb paradoxically over time.
Definitely.
Yeah, because you're never pressed.
You got to stay humble.
I completely agree with that. It's not hard for me. Given my circumstances. You've probably heard about 8 Sleep. Lots of people are talking about it. It is a company with one mission, improving your sleep. That's when we know.
Yeah.
Giving you worms. All of Tucker Carlson's brand deals give you worms.
Totally.
And, okay, so you live in the same place. That's also hugely helpful because you can see it over time, the same place.
True.
Ventura Boulevard, you've lived near it your whole life.
Right. Well, I started noticing that homelessness really exploded in Los Angeles. It's always been a problem in LA.
Yeah.
It now touches every square mile of that county. And it's just gotten, during COVID, it was unbelievably bad.
Oh, sorry, he's 16.
And I just felt like
during COVID, it's gotten worse because of COVID and the aftermath of COVID. And Joe Biden forcing everyone back to work and making everyone sick.
It was inhumane seeing what was going on.
Yes.
And it wasn't just that there were a lot of homeless people. It was that there were a lot of homeless people with severe mental health issues.
Yes.
And they can't make decisions for themselves. They're literally, I can't tell you how many times on my way to work on the freeway, I almost hit a mentally ill homeless person who's on the freeway.
On 405?
Yes. And I can't imagine.
I've never seen that. I lived in LA for 2 years and I did not see that ever. She's fucking completely lying.
I would go through for the rest of my life if I ever hit someone with my car, But why are we living in a society that thinks that this is okay? This is not okay. This is not okay.
What, them being on the freeway is not okay. Right. Them being in your way.
The drug addiction, not just in LA, all across the country. Has there been any effort to do anything about this?
Zero.
And it makes me really angry.
The Sacklers are still billionaires.
Yep, exactly. And it's just, I find it to be, you want to talk about treason. Politicians who let this kind of stuff happen to the Americans they're supposed to represent, and people mistake that as me being anti-homeless. No. The people who defend what's happening right now, they're anti-homeless. 7 people died of drug overdose.
Okay, this is this is such a liberal, argument. Okay, this argument is super common now among liberals for some reason, and fucking abundance folks. They were saying this during the Kamala campaign. The left has gone so crazy that they think it's okay to have people living in tents. They think it's problematic to say that you don't want people living in tents. And it's no, dude, the left, the actual left in this country are the people on the ground organizing and helping homeless people. They're actually doing the work. They're working in treatment centers that Trump has closed down, or they were, you know what I mean? They're doing fucking outreach. They're working in soup kitchens. You drive around and get uncomfortable by seeing homelessness and say you are the real left, and then make up this like phony straw man to justify your fucking resentment, acting like people think it's okay. The people who think it's okay are the liberals, by the way. And it's not that they think it's okay, it's that they don't want to do anything other than, I guess, arrest them, which is what she ultimately wants to.
On the same corner near where I live in a 2-week span, 7 people, same corner. That wasn't a big scandal. The city council member who represents my district wasn't asked about it. She didn't have to defend herself.
Why didn't you? Are you like above this? What's wrong with you?
She's one of these city council members who keeps voting on the dumbest
Are you a journalist or not?
policies that do nothing to actually help these people, but somehow justifies the continuation of the same failed policies that have led to all of these overdose deaths, all of these people with mental health issues not getting the help that they need. It's awful. The whole situation is awful.
I mean, I lived in LA as a child. I've worked there on and off my whole life. I really love Los Angeles. I'll admit that. I just love it. It's just a truly American city. The architecture is
beautiful,
unique to LA, or was. It's just an amazing, it's what an ambitious,
yeah, it's gone now.
Just hopeful, affluent country builds when they get to the end of the continent.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, wow, there's nowhere else to go. Let's build something amazing. And they built Los Angeles. And I've always loved it in my heart.
That's not really what happened. It's a monument to manifest destiny. He's literally doing white supremacy in front of you, Anna. If you're comfortable with this, it tells me a lot about you as a person. And none of it is good.
So I go back there. I'm going back next month. And I'm shocked by it. Like, I can't even believe it. The encampment outside the Veterans building in Brentwood. I'm like, what is going on here? And no one ever says anything. Well, but I don't live there. You tell me. Do people talk about this a lot?
They talk about it privately. But it's really interesting because while there's this openness in regard to the failed policies in private discussions, no one wants to say anything publicly because you'll get the kind of treatment I've gotten.
The people are dying.
Is that 3 times in 30 minutes she's mentioned the kind of treatment she's gotten and how mean everyone is to her for speaking up? How brave must she be for doing all this? Wow. She's like the main character.
On the street. Yep. 7 people at one intersection.
Yep.
7 people, Americans. And that's like
you're
verboten.
talking about 7 people who could have died right in front of you. And you're like, and if you even say anything, they're really mean to you. And by you, I mean me.
Why?
Oh, you're stigmatizing your unhoused neighbors. I can't tell you how many times I've heard
this is what I mean. Like, who says this?
That statement. You're stigmatizing your It's like, no.
First of all, you are
dead. And I feel bad about it.
I'm stigmatizing the very politicians who think that this situation is okay. The same.
I do, but that's not all you say is my point. Like, yeah, that is a valid criticism. She's acting like that's where it ends. The specific use of unhoused neighbors is implying that the people who say that are acting like they belong on the street, which is not what anyone is saying. They're just acknowledging that they don't have anywhere else to go, and the cruelty of forcibly removing them is too much. It violates our principles as leftists. It should. Anyone. Why would you give the police that power at all? Like, the most she's talked about this affecting her is like, I'm trying to drive to work and they're in my way. I'm trying to walk home and they're dying in the sidewalk. And if you talk about it, everyone's mean to you. And it's like, yeah, because you're a dick. You're talking about it like a freak.
Politicians who took our tax dollars, $24 billion worth of California's taxpayer money, okay, squandered it by funneling it to these NGOs and nonprofits that are run by their friends.
Oh, of course.
They fattened up their pocket.
Yeah, there is a nonprofit industrial complex that operates in multiple states, but especially California. It's parasitic, it's disgusting, and it's the product of capital, by the way. It's the product of a right-wing neoliberal economy.
They didn't do anything to actually help those people. Nothing.
So when you say that at dinner,
yeah,
what's that like?
I mean, again, I don't have
What do you mean dinner? So you don't get invited to Christmas anymore? Sounds a lot like me.
Dinner with idiots. Okay, so I'm not going to have dinner with someone who's like, no, I think we should keep stealing money from taxpayers in the highest tax state in the country. No, I'm not interested in that. But when I do have dinner with my friends or with, acquaintances or even like...
we got to do some Ezra Klein abundance thinking and get that housing built. That's what she's describing the issue with, too, is like the abundance attitude of just like building housing at market rate. Because that's what they do. If you've been in LA, they've built so much housing in the last like 10 years. And it's all these cheap, vertical, fucking ugly condos that all look the same. This is happening in Nashville, too. And in cities in Texas. It's happening everywhere. This is just the gentrification that is like kind of universal. It's the luxury condo shit. Yes. I live in a tall, skinny condo in Canada that is not cheap as shit. No, I mean... cheaply built. I'm sorry. The walls are fucking cheaply painted and they're using cheap materials for everything. But they're overpriced. That's the abundance mentality. Like, that's what they've been doing in major cities. We have all this fucking empty housing now, empty luxury housing in like downtown areas in some cases that are literally empty because they're fucking $5,000, $3,500 a month in a city like Nashville. Like, who the fuck can afford that? It's insane. The only people who could afford that are like fucking tech bros around here, and there's not that many. Yeah, and they did cut regulations to build them faster and shittier. And guess what? It displaces people. It displaces long-term residents. It raises property values, so it puts pressure on everyone in the area, and it's bad for people. It makes homelessness worse. It contributes to homelessness, and that's what she like envisions as a solution, by the way. You know she's on the abundance agenda shit. You know she's gonna be like, oh, we just need to build more housing. It's never, and sometimes they'll throw in like affordable, but it's never public free housing, you know what I mean? Or like heavily subsidized housing, or decommodifying housing in general, dismantling the housing market, because that's the only real humane solution, is to remove the fucking financial incentive.
People that I just met, but you know, for whatever reason, our paths crossed and we're having dinner. They all agree with me. You know, most people agree with me. And I don't think what I'm saying is at all offensive, which is why I keep saying it. I'm not going to stop saying it just because.
Like, what are you saying? You're saying, I hate homeless people. I hate seeing them. They're in the street. We got to do something. They're overdosing and we got to do something.
Idiots are going to try to smear me for doing it. No, I don't care. Like, these issues go way beyond me. You get what I'm saying?
Well, not only is it not.
Do they? Not according to you. I've been listening this whole time. Sure doesn't sound like it.
It's pro-life in the truest sense. It's pro-human dignity. You don't want 7 people to die in it.
He's like, yeah, we're both pro-life after all, aren't we? It's like, oh my God.
Section, you're shocked.
Yeah.
And horrified and saddened by it.
Definitely.
And that's not shameful. That's evidence of decency and compassion. I don't understand how that just got inverted.
You know, I don't want to go back to the days where we were criminalizing people who were suffering from drug addiction.
Right.
But what we're doing now is, I think, far worse.
Oh, of course it is.
You know, because
no, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah, let's make weed illegal again. Let's make a eighth of weed like a felony offense in California. At least it's better than what we have now.
At least if someone was using publicly, which by the way, right now happens all the time. You see people.
You know why people use drugs publicly now? Because the sites, the safe use sites, were fucking dismantled because people like Anna didn't like looking at that either. Liberals complained about seeing the safe use sites, and now they're back to complaining about seeing people using in the street. Like, what did you expect?
It's really devastating. Like, you see people smoking meth publicly. You see people. Oh yeah. You see.
No, I've never seen anyone smoke meth in public. Meth is just so specific. Like, I think she just said the first drug that came to her mind.
You know, do you know what
and like, what is your issue? I'm sorry to keep pausing. If someone's smoking meth and your biggest issue is seeing it, you are a selfish asshole. Because that person using meth, what the meth is doing to their body and the addiction that they are exhibiting in front of you are far more harmful than you having to look at it and maybe smell it. Walk away, Anna.
People are always smoking.
Fuck you.
And when you run them over, it leave a nasty stain on my car SMH.
You're just as entitled and elitist and fucking cruel as Tucker Carlson. It makes so much sense why you guys are doing this. And then she'll like paint people like me as being like, oh, you just want people to use drugs in public. I want people to use drugs at safe use sites away from the public, where they know they can just do it without being judged or being put at risk, so they could just fucking get it out of the way and get on with their lives. So they could get resources at those safe use sites to stop using, which we know is effective. We know that that works better than like fucking putting them in jail. Everything is based on how much it bothers Anna. Everything from the actual fucking products of capitalism to the products of her own rhetoric and people thinking she's a fucking asshole for the way she talks about it. And she is. It's just like how Birthing Person and Bonus Hole are about her. She has to take it personally.
And it's, I don't know. It's
you
like,
describe it for people who don't know what you're talking
it's
about.
basically fentanyl. I guess it does something to your body where after you take it, like if you see someone who's literally standing, but they're like hunched over, like folded over.
Like a scarecrow.
Like,
yeah.
exactly. They're on fentanyl. That's what fentanyl does to them at night specifically. You don't see it in the daytime. And it's the most heartbreaking thing ever. These people are...
What, you never seen fentanyl in the daytime? That's not true.
They're dying.
Where you live.
Very likely they're going to die.
Someone's child.
Yeah, yeah. And no one cares. No one cares. It's made us almost numb because it's so much of our lives now. Like it's a regular occurrence. So when it's a regular occurrence, it becomes normalized. And
it degrades everyone.
Exactly. And
this is the elitism coming out. It degrades everyone? What does that even mean? Exactly, she says. It's degrading for the person on the ground who people are stepping over. That's the degradation, is the inhumanity being shown. People stepping over that person are in the wrong. Like, do they not understand that? They're like, we have to step over these fucking people, dude. It's so fucked up that we have to do that. It's degrading for me.
I'm worried that since it's so normalized, nothing's going to be done about it.
Equip a little Narcan, Anna. Buy some at the fucking Walgreens. Show a little humanity. I don't know.
And that it's wrong, and I'm disgusted with our politicians.
I don't think I could have put it better. Every word you said, I agree with passionately, and I don't know how this wound up a partisan issue at all. And
he's really hamming it up. I feel like he's doing this on purpose. You know what I mean? He said that so like blatantly, so you know people are gonna clip that and be like, "This is what he said to Anna Kasparian." I agree with everything you said wholeheartedly.
Word you said, I agree with passionately, and I don't know how this wound up a partisan issue at all. And
I think it's because it's the Trump era.
Yeah,
Trump offends the sensitivities and sensibilities.
So what's Trump doing about this, by the way?
Of self-identified liberal Democrats so much that they think they have to like automatically take the opposite stance of what a conservative would say or what a Trump supporter would say. But that's why I want people to start talking again,
yes,
and not make Donald Trump like the nucleus.
Like, you are not talking to a person right now.
Of our politics, because I think that, you know, again, on a lot of the important issues, there's a lot of agreement among voters. They just have to allow themselves to think for themselves.
This is a lot like the interview she did with Ben Shapiro, actually. So this is very unsurprising. That's the moment I stopped fucking with her. When I saw her do this interview, exact same style of interview with Ben Shapiro.
Well, I would say the most important issues. I mean, if you've got 7 people dying in one intersection in Los Angeles, you're not going to tell me that Iran is a greater threat to my country than that.
Exactly.
I can't think of a greater threat to my country than that, actually. And I don't have any idea why that's partisan.
So what are you going to do? Why do these people have no policy? You're just bitching. What's your solution here? You love shitting on the left who actually comes up with solutions that we don't have the popular like fucking momentum to be able to pass. But you're just like, man, it's such an issue, and the left doesn't even know what the fuck they're saying, man. The left is assholes to me. I took a couple of days to not watch this. I didn't want to watch it.
I'm interested in the governor. I know the governor of the state.
Mm-hmm.
He's got some. I know Gavin Newsome. He's got some talent, I think. And
what does he mean by this? I feel like normally Tucker Carlson would say that Gavin Newsom is a blood-sucking elitist that locked down his state with a fascist iron fist and is like 1984. What is this? Why is he pretending to like Gavin Newsom all of a sudden?
But like, what is going on? Is he aware of that? I've asked him, and I
you really find him charming?
Like, yeah, not even Anna's dumb enough for that. Is it just white male solidarity?
Well, in a kind of reptilian way. I mean, charming in the sense that
well, now he's floundering.
That his whole life is devoted to winning people over.
Yes,
kind of like Bill Clinton was, and I think he's good at it. But I also think someone said to me the other day, Newsom could pass a lie detector test.
Well, now he's reading the room. It didn't really seem like he was so tough on him when he brought him up. What the fuck is this? This is an entirely different turn to the conversation.
On saying anything, like there's a coldness inside that
he's
allows.
He's a sociopath. I think he's a snake oil salesman. I think he's a liar.
You don't need to pathologize this. I'm sorry. Gavin Newsom has ripped up homeless encampments with his bare hands. That's a sin. That is a line on all principles for like fundamental human belief. That is demonic to do that.
And I think that he destroyed the state of California. Full stop.
California was a sinking ship when he was elected. He's just profiting off of it, like every other fucking kleptocrat in this goddamn country. I'm from California, so I have a particular take on Gavin Newsom, and I don't like him at all.
I think that people tend to fall for appearances, and for whatever reason, people think that he's attractive or something. I don't find him attractive because I know who he is and what he's done.
I could rant about this all day. I don't even believe people find him attractive either. When it comes to politicians, sure, but the competition is not. That's not the filter I'm looking at this with.
He has shafted Californians who have lost everything in wildfires. The fire in Paradise, California was absolutely devastating. An entire community burnt down as the result of PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric, that's the utility company, refusing to upgrade their equipment is over 100 years old. Power lines come crashing down onto dry brush. It sparks a fire and destroys an entire community. So you would want PG&E to suffer some consequences for that, right?
I think.
Well, Newsom bailed him out because it's one of his biggest donors. He recently in an interview, I can't remember, he's been doing these like podcast interviews to kind of rebrand himself.
Like California needs to have state-owned power. That is the only solution to any of that. You know what I mean? Anything short of that is a compromise. It's just not going to fix the problem.
Is like some sort of common sense guy.
I've turned it down.
Yeah. Don't fall for it because it's total BS. But, he said something along the lines of, oh, I take personal accountability. I made a big mistake by getting caught, I was at the French Laundry. It's like some ritzy, fancy restaurant during COVID after I told Californians, don't get together with family members during the holidays. It's very dangerous, whatever. He said that he was having dinner with...
Okay, but it was, though. I remember fucking Christmas season 2020. I didn't see anybody because people were getting sick left and right. Like 1,000 people were dying a day.
It was his friend's birthday. No. He was having dinner with his donors. So even in the context where he's pretending to take accountability, he's lying straight to everyone's face. And I can't stand it. I really can't. I want real authenticity. I want real accountability. I want politicians who are willing to see that the policies they advocated for aren't working quite as they intended, and they're willing to recalibrate, admit that maybe they got something wrong.
Of course.
I want humility. I want this country to improve for the people in this country. And unless we are willing to be honest, unless we're willing to tell the people trying to smear us, to silence us, that they can F off,
Good night, Azzy.
Nothing's going to improve. Everything's going to keep going down. Everything is going to continue devolving. In my lifetime, this country has only gotten worse, not better. And it's going to keep going in that direction. And I want that paradigm to shift.
Worse for who? Not for Tucker or his buddies. You know what I mean? Not for the Republican Party. I mean, she might mean for the working class, but that's the only way to say that sentence or finish that sentence without lying.
Why do people disagree with that?
I don't know. I think there's something psychological about...
Why do people do interviews like this? Was he listening? What kind of question is that? I'm sorry. This is just, does anybody disagree with that?
I think that we've been conditioned to think of politics as black and white, good and bad, but I think it's more complicated than that. I think most Americans are good people who want good things for everyone, but I think the media kind of conditions us to hate the other side, whatever the other side really is, I certainly had those feelings, and things are different today compared to when I became politicized during the Bush era.
Yes.
I feel like during the Bush era, it was a little easier to see good and bad, right? So for instance, even among Republican voters, I think people had woken up to the fact that the neoconservatives had dragged us into wars that we shouldn't have been fighting. That a lot of people, Americans and civilians in these countries we were invading, were suffering as a result of this ideology. But things have gotten a little more fractured. I think within the parties, there's like multiple parties. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
But when it comes to the two establishments, the Democratic establishment, the Republican establishment, there's a lot of similarities between the two.
They're in alignment.
Exactly. On the big issues that matter.
War and the economy.
War and the economy.
Two biggest issues.
100%. They love to like distract us with shiny things.
Yeah, have a race war. It's totally
100%.
Fine. Yeah.
All these like social issues. By the way, social issues are important. I'm not minimizing that.
What is that? What is he saying? Yeah, have a race war.
100%. They love to like distract us with shiny things.
Yeah, have a race war. It's totally
100%.
Fine. Yeah.
All these like social issues. By the way, social issues are important. I'm not minimizing them. But the way that they're framed by the establishment, I think is interesting because it's intentionally meant to get us to fight each other constantly.
Of course.
The kind of speech that you gave wouldn't have happened 5 years ago.
No,
10 years ago.
No, I think that's right. And I wouldn't have, though I'm just struck by how normal and non-threatening and non-hateful and just basic most people's views are, including mine. I don't have any complicated
including mine. I'm not even like hateful even
views about anything. I'm not a very deep person at all.
He's a white nationalist. Not a very deep person. I just only want whites around me.
And
it's very simple.
I don't know why we've all internalized this shame that like some things must not be said. And it's like, why? I don't hate anybody. And
is this related to anything she said?
In fact, I'm on guard against that. I refuse to because of my religious beliefs. It's like, I'm not hating anybody, period. But I'm also not going to be shamed into like ignoring obvious stuff. None of us is paying.
Time for an ad.
I heard that speech, and by the time
I don't know what
finished
speech they're talking about
listening to it, I thought to myself, he's going to run for president. That was a presidential speech.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what? It's one thing to speculate like Tucker Carlson wants to run for president. He'd never win in a million fucking years, but it's one thing to expect that or something after hearing a speech. But to say it's presidential is an entirely different statement and is it's such glaze. It's like disgusting. Why is she doing this? Because she's a grifter. There's no two ways about it.
No, that's literally the last thing on my mind.
Really?
I would never do that. No, I mean, unless I was like told by a higher power or something, but no.
That's insane.
I don't think I'm suited for that. Of course, I don't want that. I have a lot of happiness and balance in my life. I have a huge family. I'm the oldest male in that family. So I feel like I have a lot of things I'm paying attention to. I have dogs who I really love. So no, like nothing about that is appealing at all.
Tucker Carlson 10-minute speech on Epstein working for Israel. Is that the speech?
I don't like to vote.
Oh my God, what is he wearing?
And but I did vote this time. And
she loved this.
I don't like to vote because I don't believe in any of them. And this time I really felt like I know Trump well. I love Trump personally. And what we were looking at was just so awful and totalitarian and stupid. And it wasn't even the arguments that I disagreed with from the Kamala Harris. It's weird to even say her name now. Who was that exactly? It was like a bad dream. But it wasn't even so much the arguments I disagreed with, though I definitely disagreed with the arguments. It was the style of argument that drove me completely bonkers. Summarized most crisply by "shut up, racist." Whatever you said, it was "shut up, racist." And it's like, but wait.
Yeah, whatever you said.
You know, first of all, I'm not a racist, but that's not even the point. The point is, I just told you what I think. I just asked you an entirely legitimate question, mostly, what the hell are you doing? And rather than answer it, you didn't...
Dude, is he drunk?
...pay me the respect that you would a human being. You treated me like a slave or an animal by telling...
There's no fucking way this is the speech she said it was presidential.
And I won't put up with that because I'm not a slave or an animal. I'm an American citizen, an adult man who pays his taxes.
Okay, no, come on.
And I've never had any political ambition of any kind, and I have even less now. I mean, I've known a lot of people.
He's fucking feral, dude. He's deranged. Why are you sitting with him?
Had that job, and it's really hard.
Oh, I would never want it. I would never want it. Are you kidding me?
He's barely even talking to her. Like, he's certainly not listening.
And also the idea that, like, out of 350 million people, I'm the most qualified to lead.
Well, there's plenty of people who think that.
I don't think that.
Yeah, no, I mean think that about themselves, obviously.
I do not think that.
Yeah, like Ted Cruz thinks that.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's just sad, and they're compensating for something, some of them, I guess. I'm not going to be mean, but I don't.
What?
I'm not compensating for anything, so I have no interest. But here's my question. So you said the media are a huge part of this, which is undoubtedly true.
Huge part of what?
I've been in the media for 35 years. I know everyone in the media pretty much. There's some... Mostly, they're not evil. They're just kind of dumb, okay? There are some evil people. I could name them.
I guess creating the divide of America.
No.
The divided states.
Joe Scarborough or something, you know, is like obviously really bad. But most people are not. But they go along with this, and the question is why? And one of the reasons is because they don't want to alienate their audiences. You are on one of the biggest, maybe the biggest, certainly one of the biggest liberal podcasts, progressive podcasts. The Young Turks, you've been there for almost 20 years.
It's really funny to call it a podcast. I feel like that's a jab almost. It's not a podcast. It's literally supposed to be like a news show.
I was amazed to find that out last night at dinner.
Yeah.
18 years.
18 years.
I don't know how old you are, but I was shocked by that. And it's one of the biggest, and you are one of the biggest. And maybe our audience doesn't know this because they don't watch liberal podcasts, but you're one of the biggest. So you start saying stuff like this, you're gonna like...
Yeah.
They're really not. They're really not, especially now. Majority Report is bigger than the Young Turks at this point. What? That's why she's jumping ship. That's why she's doing this like right-wing grift.
Lose audience, you're gonna lose money, like actual money.
Yep.
Has that happened? Do you worry about that happening?
Yeah, that's happened.
And it got by the right. Oh, been happening. I mean, their studio, the Young Turk studio, is built by the fucking Polymarket Polymarket gambling app. They got a brand deal with Polymarket to build a fucking ugly newsroom that looks like shit.
Let me just say
and that was years ago.
For whatever anyone might think about Cenk Uygur, who's the founder and CEO of the Young Turks, you know, he's a very like he's sometimes brash. Yeah. Combative, loud, and that turns people off. And I get that. They might not agree with this
poly-family, not poly-market
politics. But I just want to talk about who he
poly-market. Fuck, not poly-family.
Is as a person. Because if it weren't for Cenk, I wouldn't have the confidence to publicly admit I'm wrong, or the confidence to be genuine and honest about what I really think.
About what? Hello? When have either of these people ever done that? Cenk said verbatim, like a year ago, I am the left, when asked about like people disagreeing with him. Come on.
Because he provides a platform for you to actually say what you think and not get punished for it if it hurts the business. And it did hurt the business.
Wow.
Yeah. So we lost a portion of our audience for sure.
Based on what you said?
Based on...
Oh yeah, for what you said, totally.
what I said. And
When it came to trans people, maybe, but not about Israel.
more
What did you
importantly,
say?
They fell off because they suck ass.
It alienated people.
I mean, okay, I
They
would
had on Marjorie Taylor Greene because she said she was anti-war one time. That's how you alienate a fucking audience. What do you mean?
say that the straw that broke the camel's back was I agreed to go talk to Glenn Beck. He invited me to go on his podcast. You know, I obviously have disagreements with Glenn Beck, but I was actually shocked at how much we agreed on.
Oh,
You know,
that's
we talked about war. We
insane.
talked about all sorts of things, and there were areas of agreement. It was a pleasant conversation, but I didn't capitulate my values at all. Just because I'm talking to him doesn't mean I've done anything wrong. My views are my views. His views are his views. We had a conversation. Well, I come home.
Dude, Glenn Beck is an absolute fucking Nazi. He's the owner of the Blaze TV. He's like a fucking Diet Alex Jones. Yeah, why would you ever talk to this guy? What the fuck? You must be so desperate for any kind of clout if you're talking to this fucking guy. Jon Stewart just revealed how the left works.
Let me take you to another thing that Jon Stewart, because Jon Stewart has been mocking me for years, and that's fine. Here he is on Epstein, and he's taking me on. But I just want to, the only reason why I want to play this, because it's really not worth it other than for anybody who doesn't know how the left works. What they do is
Colonel Sanders, that's crazy.
they take everything out of context and they twist it to make it look as though I'm saying something that I'm not, or making it look like that is the conclusion. So
projection.
Watch Jon Stewart here.
I honestly think my favorite thing about this is watching conspiracy theorists have to unravel the red string that they themselves originally strung out. Here's the OG conspiracy theorist Glenn Beck at his excitement for Trump's beginning of the second term.
The only thing I care about is the scandal of the pedophiles, and
why would you say that? Why would you call it that?
In the next 10 days, you're going to see the Epstein.
Sounds like a Harry Potter subtitle.
File released. Day number 1, Kash Patel walks in. By the end of the day, it will be released.
Day 1! Deep state exposed. Oh, I'm sorry. Trump's in the rough. I'll get right on that ball drop.
What the left is... Stop for a second. Stop.
Yeah.
So what did he do?
Well, stop. Hang on. He's about to embarrass me.
He switched the person from Kash Patel to Donald Trump. He didn't say Trump was going to release it day one.
Oh.
Didn't say that.
Right. No, Kash Patel was going to release that, and I had that on very, very good
good authority.
Trust me, very good authority on that. I can't help that that person that told me that was wrong. It was hard to be wrong, but they were wrong. And so I look like...
So it wasn't good authority then? What do you mean? I had it on good authority, but they were wrong?
I was just out there on the limb. I don't really care. I don't care.
Oh, okay.
But it was not Donald Trump that said that. And that was a prediction that I made. And based on some information that somebody that was very reliable, at least at the time, or I thought was very reliable, told me that was what was going to happen on day one. It didn't. Now he immediately jumps to me at a chalkboard. 6 months later, 70 pounds different. Okay, you can tell some time has gone because Glenn's lost 7.
Yeah, the time is the Trump administration. That's the point of the story. That's included in the context. Why is he's being so dishonest? I almost said why, but I know why, because he's a liar. This is who Anna went on the podcast of and is like upset that people got mad at her.
Yeah.
So watch what he says next. Go ahead.
What the left is saying, and some people now on his team are saying, he's in the report. With 15-year-olds? Really? Do you actually believe that?
I have seen some clips that would be consistent with...
No, you haven't.
Buy it.
Fucking got him. No, you haven't.
Hey, stop. Okay, stop for just a second. So he brings up he bought a teenage, what do you call it? Miss Teen USA. He bought that.
Yeah, he hosted Miss Teen USA pageants and would, on multiple occasions, barge into the dressing room when they were getting dressed. That's just normal Republican stuff.
That doesn't make you a pedophile.
Jeez. Oh, my gosh. And they're talking about the beauty pageant?
Yeah, he's talking about the beauty pageant.
Oh, good golly.
And again, so it doesn't make you a pedophile. There's a difference.
Right.
you know, between a teenage beauty pageant and a pedophile. I'd like to know what clips you've seen. And notice it's clips. The same thing that he's doing here. He's taking a clip and he's formatting it in a way where you can't see that when I'm talking about, I'm going to the chalkboard and there is one option up there that Trump was on the tape. It doesn't show that there were 5 different options up on there.
That he was just friends with him and it was fine. Anyway, that's who she's defending talking to.
And one of our employees, someone who's a contributor to TYT or was a contributor to TYT, decided to take that as an opportunity to make a big spectacle about the fact that he's quitting because I decided to speak to Glenn Beck, who's like a threat to black.
What the fuck is he talking? Who is she talking about? I'm sorry for misgendering her as a birthing person.
Bodies or something. I don't know. But it was.
Is Glenn Beck a threat to black bodies?
I have no idea. Is he? I mean, I didn't get that.
Yeah. Every fucking out and about white supremacist Trump supporter is a threat to black people. Yes.
I don't think Glenn Beck's much of a threat to anyone, to be honest with you. He might have some ideas people don't like.
Okay, he's a threat to women based on what we just heard, but I guess she's given up on that whole feminist shtick. Not profitable.
But it was nothing that you specifically said. It wasn't like
nothing that I said. I mean, no one was citing anything I said during that interview that upset them. That
it's just, I mean, it doesn't really matter what you said. You just said you agreed with him on a bunch of stuff. That's bad.
That was so offensive that it was worthy of like publicly condemning me and making a big spectacle about how I can't work here because of Anna, and she spoke to this dangerous man.
Did Beck say anything?
Like, I don't know. I don't know how you don't feel targeted as a person of color working at the Young Turks when someone interviews a white supremacist, just like this too, by the way. You could say that exact same thing about Tucker.
You were supposed to respond to it or something?
No. I mean, Glenn Beck.
He's a pretty moderate guy, actually.
I mean, he might have some views that aren't moderate, but we didn't talk about any of those things. Like, the conversation was really not offensive at all, in my opinion.
But they didn't cite anything. He didn't endorse Hitler or anything.
It was just the fact that I spoke to him. But, you know,
wow.
Yeah, if you talk to a white supremacist, you have to challenge them strongly about their racism. Like, she challenged Dennis Prager very effectively when she debated him, and that's what made me like her.
It signaled to a portion of our audience, like, oh,
what?
Maybe Anna isn't who she says she is.
People don't have that distrust because someone is calling you out. What? You're acting like their audience was manipulated by somebody who was upset about something she did. And it's like, no, what you did was bad and people agreed with them. It's very simple.
Maybe Anna is like a secret, like far right winger or Nazi or something.
No, it's not a secret.
How long had you been at the show at this point?
17 and a half years. It wasn't
so
too long
that's deep
ago.
cover. So you've been a secret Nazi for 17 and a half years.
Yeah, I'm really good at
You're playing the long game, baby.
Yeah. But
bro, what the fuck, man? This is scary. This is just frightening. Why would you do this to yourself?
So I'm sorry to laugh.
Let me just say this.
I'm sorry to have an episode. The demon came out.
Working, like as you mentioned, I've been there for 18 years. Started working there in 2007. Okay. When TYT was basically a startup that no one knew about, the revenue for TYT at the time came from Air America. Mm-hmm. Air America had gone bankrupt a few months after I started working for them. And Cenk Uygur is amazing because he's like, I'm going to make it work. I'm going to find a way to keep this company afloat. And he did, to his credit.
Yeah, by scalping off of his employees and not letting them unionize.
I
nailed it.
Can't even explain to you how much of a grind it was building TYT. It was a grind. Long hours.
Anna Kasparian is the Hulk Hogan of TYT.
And I actually have like great memories of those years. We barely made any money at all, but we believed in what we were doing. And there was something really exciting about that. I went through all that. I helped build what TYT is today. And the audacity of anyone coming in as a contributor or anything else to tell me who I can and can't talk to that's offensive.
Yeah, it's having an issue with me. That's the real crime.
Okay, I earned this. You're not going to come into my house and tell me what my beliefs should be, who I should talk to.
Oh, that's crazy.
F off.
Don't be rude.
Good riddance. Go. I'm not going to be censored by anyone. Not my audience, no one on the right. I don't care. I don't care.
So sometimes when people sell products on TV, I love this product, I use this product.
I love what you're saying, of course. But you also are making a point about,
of course,
the guy you work with who started the company, owns the company, who even after some of your audience bolted over this, he didn't call you in and say, knock it off?
No, never. That's not who Cenk is. And by the way, I mean, he's had hosts on our network who he vehemently disagrees with. And he's had other hosts come in and like demand that those hosts get fired because of what they're saying. Oh, it's offensive. And Cenk's like, no, we don't do that here. And I think what informs Cenk's behavior, honestly, is the fact that at one time he was a self-identified Republican. This is when he was in.
Society can't continue.
And he and I have like a lot of these heart-to-hearts because I have these days when I am down about everything that's transpired because I do feel like it's unfair to paint me in a certain light just because you don't like the people I'm talking to.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They don't.
But whenever I need like a little bit of a pep talk, he'll mention what it was like as a college Republican. And he's like, Anna, it was unbearable because they wouldn't let me talk in class.
Dude, because what you have to say as a Republican is fucking stupid. Why? Liberals do this too, where it's like, what I'm saying it, so it has to be valuable.
Who's they?
Like other students or professors who didn't like his point of view.
Other students, yeah, bro. They were gonna kill you and put you in prison, the students and the professors.
Okay, liberals.
Yeah, liberals, yeah. And that really, really frustrated him. And so now, as the CEO of the Young Turks, he's not going to turn around and censor other hosts because he disagrees with them.
A lot of people do, though.
A lot of people do, but to his credit, he doesn't. And that's why I've been there for 18 years. There have been other
Tucker's like not listening at all. He heard they, and that was the only thing he had to say.
Opportunities to make I love when people call me a grifter. I could have been a millionaire by now. I'm not a millionaire because
you're sitting across from one. You are sitting across from a multimillionaire, like definitional grifter. So, I mean, come on. Yeah, that's why you're starting now. You recognize it. You recognize that this is profitable. This is such a self-report.
I want to speak my mind, and TYT has been the only place that's allowed me to do it.
Oh my God.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, most people don't host shows, so they don't know the feeling. I have hosted shows, so I do know the feeling. If your audience starts to move out from under you, boy, that is, because that's your strength, that's your core, that's your revenue, of course, but more than that, that's your moral backing. Like you know, they may not like what I'm saying, but my people do. My audience does.
That makes what you're saying moral?
They bolt in meaningful numbers. Boy, there's nothing scarier. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, it is scary. I'm not going to lie about that. I mean, being scared didn't deter me, but I was
Why are you being vulnerable with Tucker Carlson? This is so bad. You're just like foolish. You're just, it's so embarrassing. He is your fucking enemy. And you're just like, oh, it's so hard being a fucking YouTuber. He's not your therapist. I don't know. It's just, why?
You know, if you get past the initial shock, like you'll say something, be like, well, first of all, you're not allowed to say that. Second, I've never heard anybody say that.
What?
And I kind of hate you for saying something new. But I do think that wears off after.
When has this guy ever said anything new?
For a moment, and people are like, well, actually, is that crazy? Is that hateful? I don't think it is. And you can kind of convince them.
You can hear him laundering white supremacy in real time. Is that hateful? I mean, come on.
I totally bought the narrative that like everyone on the right's racist, everyone on the right is greedy, that kind of stuff.
So Trump, term one. When everyone just got hysterical about Trump.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
That was the era that I'm not proud of. I was basically building my own prison and I didn't realize it. And what I mean by that is once you have a niche audience, you're not allowed to deviate from a very specific and narrow ideology. And I don't want that. I'm not an ideologue.
Yeah, because you're illiterate. I'm not an ideologue. Because you're a grifter. What is the point of engaging in politics if you don't have ideology?
Willing to admit when I'm wrong. I'm willing to recalibrate on policy if I see it implemented and it's not working correctly. I ultimately just want truth. I want justice, and I want
what? You don't have principles. You don't have morals.
A country that represents its people. That's what I want. That's my core.
Do you feel like it is bridgeable? Like there's so much anger. Like, and by the way, I do think the immigration thing and the crime thing sort of obscure it. Like the real fight is between educated whites. Like they're the ones who really hate each other.
Really?
I think that.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I think I just know from my own experience, I often say this, but, they called me a racist for many, many years. And I would always say, if I was racist, I would just admit it because, there are worse things.
Okay, so that is an admission. Saying that there are worse things, like he's sanitizing the entire concept, that's an admission. And he's also lying. There is no advantageous optic way to say that you're racist. He would obviously say it if that was not the case.
And I would get so hassled, always by the same demographic. And I would always say to my wife, no black person's ever yelled at me. In fact, I've been hugged by a lot of black people. I'm sorry, it's just true. And they don't seem to think I'm a racist, but it's always middle-aged white women who were yelling at me at Logan Airport. And what is that? No, I'm not whining. I mean, I don't really care, but it's just interesting.
Anti-white racism. Yeah. I don't believe him. No, he's lying. He's never been hugged by a black person in his entire life. I don't believe that at all.
So I think it's almost like fratricidal. It's like professional class whites who read the New Yorker, read the New York Times, like they're truly angry at each other.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just noticed this.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like every other insane thing that right-wingers say, there's a kernel of truth here, and it's evidenced by the people that voted for Zohran Mamdani in New York City, okay? There is absolutely a faction of upper-class, college-educated white people that are super fucking resentful of the 1% because they have the most access, the most privilege, usually, the highest salaries in the fucking country, without being a multimillionaire, basically, capitalist, and they still have no upward social mobility. They're either debt trapped, or their rent is still too high, or they can't afford their medical bills. They're the people that listen to podcasts and watch YouTube videos the most because they have the fucking office jobs or the free time to do it. And so, of course, they would be resentful. And when it comes to middle-class white women, that is also applicable, but they also watch a lot of TV.
I think it's propaganda and
Big
this
time.
thought that
This is exactly what Netanyahu says to explain away why people don't like him.
I think that their heart is in the right place.
I'm giving them the presumption of good faith for sure.
Yeah.
I just want to know, when some rich lady yells at me in the ski lift line, she thinks I'm racist. I know that.
Okay, well, you're in the ski lift line. Yeah, there's gonna be rich white ladies there. At that point, it's just a numbers game.
I always say that. But then there's also there's a fascist takeover imminent. Is that part of it? Or what is the worry?
Well, I mean, okay, let's talk about the fascist takeover because there is a part of me that's a little bit worried about that.
That's so funny.
I am too.
Okay.
I am too.
Okay.
But, for the vaccine.
So
not just part of me, a lot of me.
And look, I don't know what's in those women's heads. So I just don't understand them. So I feel weird talking about what they're thinking and what motivates them.
Every person should be worried about the centralization of power and the use of technology to strip basic rights from citizens.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Like the Palantir stuff concerns me a little bit.
Anytime, I mean, the technology, not just Palantir, but all the emerging technology, supercomputing, AI, all of this stuff.
Yep.
Facial recognition, it could
got off Palantir real quick, huh? Yeah, he's just describing things Palantir does.
Be used to enslave the population
totally
really easily.
Totally. Yeah.
Not just Palantir, but AI.
I don't know why. I mean, everyone should be freaked out about that.
Be worried about that, definitely. I'm also a little bit worried about, and I don't know how large this group of people in America happens to be, but you're hearing from them more and more. This idea that, no, we need to move toward a liberal and post-liberal democracy. You know what I'm saying? A rejection of the democratic process overall. Curtis Yarvin is one of the figures who's been kind of preaching about this. He sounds really dumb, so I don't know how seriously people really take him. But he purports to want a monarchy in this country, which sounds insane.
I'm opposed to monarchy. And
I'm sorry, what?
The truth, however, is that the trends you're describing have totally discredited liberal democracy. That's my fear.
I don't understand why they're worried about a fascist takeover from Curtis Yarvin. They're worried about a fascist takeover from a monarchy. Monarchy is different than fascism. Where's the real issue here?
And I think maybe it's intentional.
What is going on?
Oh, for sure it's intentional.
So chaotic that we beg for a dictator. I kind of feel like that's happening.
I hope people aren't begging for a dictator, because you don't like the fact that the government isn't really representing your interests right now. Get a load of what it's going to be like to live under a dictator where you have no say at all.
Right. No, I'm talking more about like quality of life questions. Like if there are home invasions going on and the homeowner doesn't have any expectation the cops are going to save him, that kind of stuff, that's not theoretical. That's like, that induces panic.
Okay, so he's talking about like RoboCop. And what's the real issue is a police state, which is the solution to the crime in RoboCop.
True, yeah.
It makes me uncomfortable even thinking about it, you know? So if you have a lot more of that, people were like, I don't really give a shit about voting. What I care about is my kids not being killed.
Wait, the alert isn't going away. He's possessing the stream.
My kids not being killed.
Yeah, and actually you make a really good point, which is why it's so important for Americans who value liberal democracy to really start thinking seriously about saving it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Why does she relate to this deranged maniac?
But don't you feel like when people are under, like if you were on a plane flying across,
don't you feel like they're trying to kill my children?
Maybe we should be more concerned about profits for, you know, bomb makers and weapons manufacturers and private contractors and the mercenaries that are currently working over in Gaza to shoot and kill people as they're waiting for humanitarian aid.
So how does that, it does feel like I've spent 35 years not talking about that topic because, one, I don't really have on a native level like super strong views about it. It's not my country. I wish everyone well.
On a native level.
In every country. And
I do.
I mean that. However, it just got so in my face that I had to like say 4 things about it, for which I've been, you know, spent the rest of my life trying to deal with that, the effects of being called those names. But I feel like all of a sudden, like people you would not expect to weigh in on this, like, actually, this is too much.
Yeah. And I love it. I'm glad that that's happening. And I hope
you feel that there's been a change.
I do feel it. I mean, definitely. It were the Bush years, and this whole scenario we're playing out during those years. The kinds of things I've been hearing people say publicly, I would not have heard. But I think what's happening this time around is you really can't deny what you're seeing on the ground in Gaza. You can't deny what's happening in the West Bank, you know, not just in regard to Palestinians.
If she does this whole thing and doesn't make Tucker say it's a genocide outright with his face and mouth, I'm going to be pissed.
Palestinian.
Say it, Tucker. Say it.
Muslims, but also Palestinian Christians. You can't deny the fact that that one and only Catholic church in Gaza was bombed, you know, was attacked. You can't deny the fact that churches have been targeted in the West Bank as well. Like, it's, people can lie to us as much as they want, but the videos are out there.
How
The
do you
images
blow
are
up
out
a
there.
church if you've got munitions, laser-guided munitions that are so sophisticated that they can take out, you know, a guy in an SUV from 30,000 feet? How do you blow up a church with a giant cross on top of it?
It was just an accident, Tucker.
But they blew up an SUV. They blew up an SUV with the Red Crescent logo on it and then buried it with bulldozers. Yeah, they blew up the children's prosthetic warehouse after they took over a cancer ward, a children's cancer ward. They blew it up. And this facetious response is cowardly. The IOF snipes children, sniped mothers in the middle of birth, snipes doctors and journalists. They blow up churches on purpose. Why do they care about churches so much? Because they're Christian churches, chatter. Because they're Christian churches. That's why. Which is just a priority that is so ghoulish within the context of what we're actually talking about.
It's not the first church.
No, it's not. And it wasn't an accident. It wasn't an accident.
There you go. What is the answer? Can anyone get an answer?
I know the answer.
Chapter 7.
Israel wants a Jewish state and they want to expand. They have something known as the Greater Israel Project. They intend to annex the whole of the West Bank. In fact, Miriam Adelson legally bribed Donald Trump to ensure that that happens. And Israel announced that that's what they're going to do, and they're doing it. When it comes to Gaza, I mean, Hamas is so dumb because the atrocities they committed on October 7th.
Oh my God.
Gave Netanyahu and the Israeli government the perfect excuse to essentially do what they've always wanted to do, which is take that land. They're going to take that land. That's what.
This also misses the greater point of what October 7th and the timing of it was as well. Saying they're dumb because Israel was going to retaliate is foolish. They knew that. What the fuck? They were already in a concentration camp, Anna. It's like saying the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising was so stupid. They should have known Nazi Germany was going to level the entire city. Yeah, they're the fucking stupid ones. Totally.
They want. They're going to ethnically cleanse whatever remains of the Palestinian people. They're They're going to force neighboring countries.
Yeah, as if they weren't already doing that before October 7th. Like, come on.
Probably to absorb 2 million people. And then at the same time, they're going to have settlers move on in, rebuild Gaza. Jared Kushner, by the way, soon after October 7th happened, was like salivating on camera about how that's prime real estate. But anyway,
how can you move 2 million people right now?
Well, there was a story published this week, I believe it was in the New York Times, where Netanyahu...
They also attacked because Israel was increasing its ethnic cleansing of the West Bank, including raids on the most sacred mosque in Palestine. Yeah. We saw in 2021 they were bulldozing neighborhoods in occupied Jerusalem.
So when they bombed the church, it's because they don't want the church. That land is supposed to be part of the Jewish
You're not
state.
allowed to use my tax dollars to bomb churches.
Well, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, do something, Tucker. Fucking do something about it. I beg you. I'm begging you, Tucker. Join Hamas.
Put up with a lot of stuff, but I think I've said this 100 times. Let me say it again. I don't understand how any Christian leader in the United States can sit by and not say something about that. And Mike Huckabee, who has been a pretty slavish, devotee of the state of Israel, and I don't mean that as a compliment. He's a very nice man.
Yeah, hospitals, universities, people's houses, apartment buildings, schools, prosthetic warehouses for children.
Infine with blowing up children beauty draw the line at churches.
Yeah, but not Jesus's house.
Agree with them strongly. Even Mike Huckabee came out and said, whoa, 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 whoa.
Yeah, I mean, white nationalists firebombed black churches, and Tucker Carlson doesn't have a lot of outrage for that, but, whatever.
Whoa.
Yeah.
In America,
You can't kill Christians.
And American citizens.
Yeah. But I don't understand why that's not, if that's not a red line, then there's no red line.
I think it should definitely be a red line, but let me just say, Mike Huckabee made a statement, and that's nice. It's more than Biden was willing to do. Talk is cheap. Are you going to cut funding? Are you going to stop sending over the 2,000-pound bombs that are destroying people's homes, universities, churches, refugee camps, hospitals? Gaza's leveled. Deir al-Balah is like the last remaining portion of Gaza that still has some structures that people can live in.
You did actually go through it, but it doesn't change the fact that Tucker Carlson is very hyper-focused here.
And they're currently doing a ground invasion there. They got to destroy it, of course. It's so obvious what's happening. And it's so unjust. And this is the area where, what democracy? I have no power. The government's going to take part of my earnings that I worked really hard for, not to help my fellow American citizens who might...
Come on, why? Sorry, just why does it have to be about you? Oh my God.
Might need health care, who might have fallen on hard times and can't feed their families and need help with food assistance. It's not going to go to them. It's going to go toward the bombs that are terrorizing people in Gaza, the West Bank. By the way, it's going to expand further than that. They've already annexed part of Syria. The Syria war, that proxy war, was a proxy war for a reason. Turkey wanted to have influence and control over the area where the Kurds are at. Obviously, Israel wanted to annex portions of it, and they've been doing it ever since Assad fell. And you have a former al-Qaeda leader as the current leader of Syria, who's trying to capitulate to Israel, but obviously it's not good enough because Israel's still bombing the crap out of Syria. It's unbelievable. I have no ability to change it. It seems like we
like to forget about southern Lebanon. I don't know why.
Electorate in this country have no ability to change it because it doesn't matter which party you vote for, whether it's a Democratic presidential candidate or a Republican presidential candidate. They're going to get elected and they're going to get dog-walked by whoever the prime minister of Israel is at the time.
How do we wind up supporting an al-Qaeda leader? I thought we were anti-al-Qaeda.
I thought so too.
Well, that's the thing. And we've gotten to a place now where it's really clear that the 3,000 American lives they say were lost on September 11th due to al-Qaeda.
He keeps saying like they say. Supposedly they died.
Are less important than whatever political or geopolitical consideration is driving our Syria policy.
Yeah, and it makes me sick.
So that's that's treason, of course. Mm-hmm. But it's more than that. That's like a profound moral crime, and it's also a middle finger in the face of every American.
So Trump is a traitor? Is that what he's saying?
Definitely. Yeah.
If there's one thing we could expect our foreign policy would stay consistent on is we're anti-Al-Qaeda because they killed 3,000 Americans.
Yeah, but I do understand our foreign policy.
Yeah, he's talking about the theoretical 9/11 that they say happened.
And what drives our foreign policy, and it's a black pill for sure.
Yeah, what up, Chant? Like Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny is pretty transgender coded. Is that you feeling me on that one?
Fantastic, and I support it. I don't. And by the way, it's not my place to determine who governs or who rules Iran. It's up to the Iranian people to make that decision.
You don't think it's up to you?
Hell no. I live in America. I'm an American. Who am I to tell any country who their leader should be? Who is our government? Like, we should not be meddling in those matters in any sovereign country. It's up to the people.
What about bombing it?
Of that country to either rise up and demand something different or to reform the system, whatever they want to do. I'm not interested in regime change. It's not my place at all.
But if you don't actively combat American imperialism, then you're complicit in it happening with you just going like, I don't care.
I am the choir and you are preaching. So what happens to the media where you spent your entire life? Like, what does it look like in 5 years?
I mean, I think cable news is in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Because whether people want to believe it or not, I think most Americans are actually pretty smart and privy to the fact that they're not really getting the whole story when they watch traditional media. There's a lot more competition now online. And you have long form like this, we're having a long form conversation where there's space to actually explore the complexities of various issues. And people love that. People want to be mentally stimulated.
I agree.
I'm never stimulated when I'm watching cable news. You know, maybe there are some examples, like sometimes there's like a debate segment where I'm like, okay, that was a good segment. I like that. I hate the uniformity of ideology that you get on cable news oftentimes. That bothers me. I will say this. I like Abby Phillips's show on CNN because that whole show is about bringing all sorts of people together from different perspectives to hash it out. Just going back to the partisan hackery, I was recently on, Abby Phillips's show, and we were talking about the Epstein files and whether or not, they should be released. I'm in favor of releasing them. I think the American people deserve to know.
Obviously.
But there was a conservative guy on the panel who immediately jumped to, well, why didn't the Democrats do it? And it's like, okay, sure. Why didn't I don't care. I don't care about the partisan stuff. Okay. Democrats didn't run on it. I'm not defending them. I would have liked for them to be the ones who ran on it and actually did it, but they didn't. The one who ran on it, well, Trump didn't necessarily run on it, but he did.
His voters want it.
His voters want it. Members of his administration kept
he did run on it,
using the Epstein files as bait to entice the base. And then also at the same time, while Trump might not have ran on it,
he did
use the Epstein files to attack Democrats like Bill Clinton
when he was running for president.
Right. So you're drawing attention to that and you're making the release of the Epstein files a lot more desirable to your base. To then turn around and engage in this weird, what I believe to be a cover up, not a good look. Not a good look at all. So when we're having this discussion about what's happening at this very moment and the Republican guy immediately goes to Democrats bad, it's like, okay, I know the Democrats are bad. Can we let's talk about this moment right now where promises were made, but promises are not kept when it comes to this specific issue.
Or the story itself. I mean, one of the problems with partisanship is it obscures the actual issue that I'd like to know more about. And so the Epstein thing, from my perspective, has been long known, almost 20 years. The guy was a pervert and was involved in apparently a really significant sex ring.
Yeah.
Okay, with some underage girls in it. So the whole
that's a very flattering description on behalf of Epstein. What? And that was the underage is really an afterthought here. Calling him a pervert is very different. Yeah, he's underplaying Epstein because guess what? He underplayed the guy from Waco marrying 12-year-olds. Yeah, he's got a history of this stuff. No, Tucker is a creep. Yeah, he defended Warren Jeffs.
The whole thing is gross. We knew that. But what is it? Big picture, what is that? Where did the money come from? No one can answer that question.
I'm sorry, Bubba the Love Sponge was a radio show.
Yeah, how did he make his money? How was he so wealthy?
Nobody knows.
Yeah, why did...
Wow, really compelling content, Tucker.
Les Wexner give him so much
and
money.
Leon Black, what is that?
What's going on? Yeah, I know.
So what do you think the answer is?
I think he was an intelligence asset. That's my suspicion, period.
Doing what? Blackmailing people?
I think it was a blackmail operation. Why were there cameras in the rooms where girls were being raped? What did he do with that footage? I don't know. There's just a lot of smoke, and it's led to distrust in our institutions. It's led to a lot of suspicions.
It's crazy how much he's playing into his audience. Oh, a dog whistle? Sure, I'll blow it. Yeah, exactly.
And as a result, that blackmail is being used to force these politicians to pursue policies that are not beneficial to the American people, but beneficial to a foreign country.
No! Where? Trump has been bribed. She talks about the bribe from Miriam Adelson. That's it. It's convenient. It's set in American establishments, and it's fucking money. The blackmail is so dumb. Who? What are your examples? Bill Clinton?
Do you really want to know, or will you admit that it's immoral of you to want to know, and that maybe you just can't handle the truth, and maybe you're a hater for wanting to know?
A hater.
I want more than just me knowing. I want every single American to know. That's what I want.
Last question. Do you sincerely think that anybody on either side of the aisle, which doesn't even exist, but whatever.
I think there's a gas leak somewhere. This whole conversation felt like a fever dream, and no one's like, there's no processing or interfacing here going on here.
Left, right.
It's like they're not even talking to each other.
Forever could watch what you've said for the last almost 2 hours and come away angry.
I mean, if you're Zionist, probably.
You didn't even say anything against Zionism. You're just like,
no, she didn't.
I didn't, but it doesn't matter. Look, if the Jeffrey Epstein suspicions are...
Like, she talked shit about Israel. She described Israel's genocide, but I don't think they said the word genocide actually this entire time. Let me double check that, but she definitely didn't get Tucker to say it. And at that point, I don't really get what the entire point is. They talked about the Armenian genocide. Armenian genocide. Genocided by Iran. Armenian genocide. Okay. Nope. No genocide in Gaza. That's crazy. She said ethnic cleansing. Wow. Brave.
Ever confirmed. That looks really, really bad. And you would want that information to never come out. So even talking about it, I feel really offends people for obvious reasons. And so I don't know, we'll see. But this is the message that I want people who might feel angry to take away from me.
I'm angry. Wow, she got my ass, dude.
She became a black person.
That's not what I wanted to press.
That's it.
I can't improve on that. Hannah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did he call her Hannah?
Hannah, thank you so much.
He totally said Hannah. He topped it off by getting her name wrong. Oh my God. Wow. She got played. She got played like a damn fiddle. That's gonna do it for this video. Fuck, I'm done watching this. Anna Kasparian, you go fuck yourself.